So just take a second here with our eyes closed, maybe in that easy seated, reaching nice and tall through the tops of our head, maybe closing the eyes here and just kind of scanning the body. Is there places that we want to take care of? Is there places that we really want to work on today? I can tell you that my goal today at this moment is maybe some core work and a few other things. Those are surprises. So maybe just reaching through there, really scanning that body from the top of our head all the way down to our toes. Also, just a little reminder here, we're going to do a few kickbacks. So if you got long toenails, maybe just taking it one leg at a time, which I'll cue us through that. Make sure you're not damaging yourself in any way. And also take this time to make sure that you're not hurting yourself in any way, taking care of those places of our body that maybe doesn't need to work really hard, or maybe just taking the time to come back down to the mat at any time we need. Don't forget to get water anytime you'd like, because us at here at Living Balance, nor myself, Kyle Jackson, would like you to get hurt, so just take care of yourself. So whenever we're ready, nice and slow, from that easy seated, maybe inhaling the hands on up, extending the fingertips towards the ceilings, and as we exhale, releasing the left hand on over towards the left side of the mat, reaching nice and long with our right hand over towards the left. Maybe feeling a nice little side body stretch here. You can spread the fingers a little bit further if you'd like, more of an expansion in between those rib cages. And we're just warming up here. And throughout our practice today, just take our time really focusing on that breath the whole time. Whenever we're ready, inhaling the hands on up. Exhale, releasing the right hand over towards the right. Left hand goes nice and long over towards the right. Feeling that expansion in the rib cage. Feeling that space being created. Remember, we can always open the fingertips. And again, just focusing on that breath here. Deep breaths in, long breaths out. And whenever we're ready, exhale, releasing those hands on back down to the mat. And we're just going to take this next breath or so to kind of set an intention for our practice today. So taking our palms and just kind of planting them into the mat. And then just start to really push into the palms and start to feel the glutes maybe lighten away from the mat just a little bit. And then as we exhale, reconnecting the base of our spine and our glutes back down to the mat. And then just taking this breath or so to really set an intention. What are we trying to get out of our practice this evening? What are we hoping to achieve? What are we looking to let go of? Whatever it is, this is your time. And if at any time in our practice we get a little lost or a little frustrated, or maybe we don't like exactly how things are going for us today, just come back to that intention. And then you'll get right back on track. Don't beat yourself up over it. Letting go of those judgments, letting go of expectations of yourself, of others. Alrighty, everybody. So whenever we're ready, we can start to let go through the palms. And then just go ahead, we're going to start moving. So bringing those knees back behind us for that neutral spine or tabletop. Our palms are directly below our shoulders, knees directly below the hips. If we gaze between the knees, we shouldn't be able to see the feet. Fingers spread nice and wide on the mat. As we inhale, the belly drops. Our heart opens towards the front of the room as we gaze forward, or the front of our mat. And as we exhale, pushing through the palms, pushing through the shoulders, rounding out the spine, pulling the belly button in and up. And just flowing this a few times at our own pace with our own breath. Just starting to loosen up that spine a little bit. And And whenever we're ready, meeting back in the neutral spine, tucking the toes, lifting the hips for that downward facing dog, maybe pedaling in the feet here. Just check in to make sure that our ears are somewhere between our biceps. And we're pushing through the backs of those knuckles. And hopefully in our practice today, you don't have to hear me huff and puff too much. And whenever we're ready, finding that stillness, maybe inhaling that right leg up. So we're looking for a three-legged dog here. Ideally, our backs of our legs runs right into our spine. If that doesn't quite happen, that's okay too. Nice and slow, gazing forward and flowing that right foot forward. Stack the right knee over the right ankle. If we're protecting our lower back, maybe bringing our hands to our knees first. Nice and slow, core engage, big inhale for that lunge. Try not to fall over like me. And maybe we're looking for a little bit more of a chest expansion today, so maybe releasing the hands behind our lower back, interlacing those fingers, opening your hearts. Deep breaths in, long breaths out. Exhale, releasing through the shoulders, inhaling the hands on back up. And as we exhale, just taking those hands on over towards the left. This can be a big twist, a little twist. Whatever your spine says is okay today. Watching out for those shoulders. Listening to the body here. Some of the things we're going to do today is pretty challenging. And that's okay to be gentle. Bringing our hands back together, straight out in front of us. And then whenever we're ready, our left foot's going to meet our right, and we're going to make it right into that chair. Left foot meets the right. Tucking the tailbone in slightly to protect our lower back. If we gaze down at our feet, we should still be able to see at least our big toes. And some people's chairs are a lot deeper. Don't worry, we got plenty of time to get those quads fired up today. Big inhale all the way up. Slight bend in the knees, taking our time, swan diving on down into that forward fold. Bend in the knees as much as we need to make sure those hands are firmly planted. And we can either walk our feet back into plank or we can hop back into plank. Keeping our core engaged, just breathe. And whenever we're ready, keeping that core engaged, sending the hips on back up, downward facing dog. Maybe pedaling the feet again if you choose. And then whenever we're ready, finding that stillness, inhaling that left leg up. Again, we're going for that nice straight line, but if it doesn't quite get there, that's okay too. Gazing forward, inhale, flow the left foot forward, stacking our left knee over our left ankle. Remember, if we're protecting the lower back, maybe bringing our hands to that knee first. Big inhale for that high lunge. Just breathe. And again, if we choose, we can release the hands behind our lower back, interlacing the fingers, opening our hearts, feeling that chest expansion. Deep breaths in, long breaths out. Are you having fun yet? whenever we're ready, inhaling the hands on back up. And then if we choose, turning to that right, opening those arms. Bringing our right hand to meet our left in front of us. And then whenever we're ready, nice and slow, stepping right into that chair. Remembering to breathe. Deep breaths in, long breaths out. Big inhale all the way up. Slight bend in the knees, nice and slow, swan diving on down. Planting those hands. And again, we can either take one foot back at a time or we can hop back into that plank. And engaging the core, sending the hips on back up towards the ceiling. Downward facing dog, and just taking the knees nice and wide. Big toes together, child pose. Maybe catch your breath here. Maybe get a little bit of water. I'm going to get me some water to wet the whistle. And then whenever we're ready, shifting forward into that neutral spine. If you're feeling some tension in the lower back, maybe flowing a few more cats and cows here. And then whenever we're ready, finding that stillness, tucking those toes, lifting those hips, downward facing dog. And this time if we choose, we can tiptoe our feet towards our hands, or we can hop, yogi's choice. And then finding our forward fold here, maybe placing those hands on the insides of the elbows, gently sway to the left and to the right. Just as long as we have some kind of bend in there. It could be a big bend in the knees. It could be a little bend. It's your forward fold. And whenever we're ready, releasing those hands on back down. And then taking our time nice and slow. We're just going to start to raise up one vertebrae at a time. The last thing to come up is our head. So I'm just going to turn towards everybody. So we're going to set ourselves up with a chair, even though we already started in chairs. We're going to throw a few more in there. So just looking for a little bit of space between the feet and the knees. Nice and tall. Bringing the hands together, hands heart center, sinking into our chair. Remembering to keep that tailbone pulled in just a little bit, just a little. If you're liking to build up some more heat in your body, you can press the hands together for some dynamic tension here. And if we want to get those quads really fired up, we can gently start to pedal the feet, trying to leave our shoulders right where they are. Either way, just remember to breathe. Check in with the knees, make sure they're not leaning over the toes. And whenever we're ready, planting those feet nice and slow, big inhale all the way back up. Hands together, hands heart center. And if we need to, we can rock the feet out. All right. So whenever we're ready, finding the fronts of our mat, bringing our hands into heart center, and take a nice wide step back with that right foot, dropping our right heel so it's nice and parallel to the back of the mat. If you're really looking for a challenge today, making sure that our left knee is stacked over that left ankle, you can actually kind of spread the feet a little bit further apart just to see what it feels like. If it doesn't feel good, walk that back foot back in a little bit. And ideally, our left heel is on the same imaginary line that runs to the arch of our right foot. Then whenever we're ready, opening on up into that warrior two. Gazing over that middle finger on our left hand. Just breathe. I know your quad's probably saying something right about now. I'm not sure if it's nice or mean. It's up for you to decide. And flipping our left palm and just start to sweep the sky here. And if we'd like a little break on that left quad because it's just on fire at this point, we can gently start to straighten that left leg, keeping that left knee from locking. Or we can stay right in that warrior two. Totally up to you here. Just remember to breathe. And whenever we're ready, inhaling our right hand to meet our left, almost flipping our palms away from each other, engaging those arm muscles as we push back down into that warrior two. And on our next exhale, bending in that left elbow, maybe resting our left forearm on down on the left thigh as we inhale up the right hand, gazing up towards that ceiling. If you want a little bit more, you can extend that right hand to make a nice straight line down that right side of the body. Check in with the right hip to make sure we're not pulling it forward. Keeping our core engaged here. Remember to breathe. And whenever we're ready, nice and slow, windling all the way back up, warrior two. Straightening our left leg here and turning our toes so they're facing in the same direction. Placing our hands on our hips here. And then nice and slow, we're just going to bend one knee at a time here. Inhale, coming on back to center. Exhale, coming on back down. And we want to make sure that our spine is nice and straight. The tops of our heads are continuously pointed at the ceiling. How's your quads, everybody? Mine are on fire. I'm not gonna lie. But that's okay, I know that they're awake. And if you're looking for a real big challenge, you can take this even lower depending on what your knee says. It's okay if you're down this low to let that knee kind of extend over the foot. Just whenever you're coming on back up, you want to plant the toes. Use the hands, lift back up, exhale, take it down low. But that's only if you want to. You don't have to do that. If you're taking care of your knees, maybe this is not the one for you. And whenever we're ready, coming on back into that center. Turning our left toes back towards the front of our mat. Left knee stacked over that left ankle. Bringing our hands into heart center. Pivoting on the right toes. Exhale, step on out. Oh goodness, everybody. Starting to sweat a little bit. All right. So whenever we're ready, bringing our hands into heart center, we just got to go opposite here. So leaving the right foot right, we're just take that left foot back, dropping our left heel so it's nice and parallel to the back of the mat. And I don't want to confuse you, but I want to face you. Ideally, our right heel is on that same imaginary line that runs through the arch of our left foot. And then whenever we're ready, nice and slow, opening on up into that warrior two. And whenever we're ready, flipping that right palm nice and slow. Inhale, sweeping the sky. Again, remember, if we'd like a little break on that right quad, we can gently straighten that right leg without locking the knee. Either way, just remember to breathe here. Carrying that breath all the way down to the base of the spine, and then just letting it on out whenever you're ready. Inhaling our left hand to meet our right, almost flipping our palms away from each other, pushing on back down into that warrior two. And on our next exhale, bending in that right elbow, left hand up towards the ceiling as we gaze up. And then if we choose, we can extend that left hand over the head, trying to make a nice straight line down the left side of our body. Either way, just remember to breathe here. And if you got a little shaking going on right now, it's just your body's way of getting rid of tension in the yoga world. So just remember to breathe. Remember to drink water. Remember to take breaks if we need them. And whenever we're ready with that core engaged nice and slow, pushing to the right heel, windmilling all the way back up, warrior two. Bringing our hands together, hands heart center, pivoting on the left toes. Exhale, step on out. And again, don't forget to get that water whenever you need it. So whenever we're ready, find the fronts of our mat here, slight bend in the knees, swan diving on down in that forward fold. Planting those hands, big of a bend as we need. We can either walk our feet back, or if we're pretty confident in it, we can hop back into that plank. Engaging the core, sending the hips on up. Downward facing dog. Maybe pedaling the feet again if we choose. And then just taking the knees nice and wide, big toes together, child pose. Whenever we're ready, nice and slow, inhaling forward into that neutral spine. Taking our time, we're just going to shift everything on around in front. So just spin those knees on around in front. And we're going to get ourselves set up for a boat here. So I'm going to offer you a couple of different options here. So boats have a tendency to be a little tough on your lower back. So if you're taking care of your lower back today, here's a couple of variations for you that would work better for you. One variation is we leave our hands behind our lower back as we're flowing our boats. We can come down to the forearms for the low boat. And coming on back up. If that still doesn't quite do it, we can flow our boats directly from our back. Or if you're not taking care of your back, we're going to go for it. So ideally our calves and our shins, no matter what kind of boat we're in, are nice and parallel to the mat. We've got this nice V shape happening in our center. Reaching nice and tall through the head. It's almost like we're kind of in a recliner here. And then whenever we're ready, nice and slow, exhale. Releasing the heels down towards the mat about 6 inches, holding the head off the mat about 6 inches. Just breathe. Keeping that core engaged. Inhale, regular boat. And whenever we're ready, high boat. Regular boat. Low boat. Hold and breathe. Hold and breathe. Keeping the core engaged. Inhale, regular boat. High boat. And exhale, release. Bringing those legs on in, easy seated. Maybe rocking through the hips a little bit here. And whenever we're ready, just reversing that rotation. And whenever we're ready, coming on back to that center. And I got one more boat for you. We got a paddle boat. So whenever we're ready, again, finding whatever variation feels good to us, we can start to pedal those feet. And I'm going to bring my hands into prayer hands. Helps me keep my center of gravity here. And if you want to, you can pedal your boat down low. And then if you want to, you can pedal your boat nice and high. And you can pedal it down low. And then whenever you're ready, nice and slow, bring it on back to that center. Just breathe. Again, remembering if something doesn't feel good, it's okay. You don't have to do it. And then whenever we're ready, bringing it on in for that easy seated. And just rocking through the hips here. And whenever we're ready, just reversing that rotation. And whenever we're ready, coming on back to that center, taking our time here, and just bringing those knees back behind us for that neutral spine or that tabletop. Maybe flowing a few cats and cows here. Inhale, belly drops, heart opens. Exhale, rounding out that spine. Whenever we're ready, meeting back in that neutral spine, taking our time. we're just going to take our left hand forward and then gently just thread the left hand underneath that right shoulder, and then coming on down, lowering the left side of our head down on the mat. If this feels really good, we can stay right here. If we'd like a little more, we can extend that right hand over the head. And then if you'd like a little bit more, you can take that right hand up towards the ceiling. And if you're looking for more of a challenge, you can kind of shift the weight on over to the left side. Reach back with that right hand towards your right foot. And breathe. And if you fall over, it's okay. Just come on back in whenever you're ready. Exhale, releasing the right knee on back down. Releasing that right hand on back down. Walking our right hand back underneath that right shoulder, pushing to that right palm. And we're just going to find our opposite here. So sending the right hand forward, threading that right hand underneath our left shoulder, coming on down to the right side of our face or our head. If you'd like a little bit more, you can start to extend that left hand over the head. And then again, you can take it even further again if you'd like. Taking the left hand up towards the ceiling, shifting the weight on over to the right knee, and placing that left foot into that left hand. Exhale, releasing our left hand on back down, our left knee on back down. Walking our left hand back underneath the left shoulder, pushing through the left palm, returning back to that neutral spine. And again, maybe just flow in a few more cats and cows here. And then we're ready, meeting back in that neutral spine, tucking the toes, and just walking our hands on back towards our feet. So we're pivoting up onto our tiptoes, the balls of our feet here. If this feels really good, we can stay right here in our deep squat. If we want a little bit more of a challenge, we can bring the hands into heart center. And if you want even more and your knees are saying it's okay, you can start to lift the glutes away from the heels and just breathe. And whenever we're ready, exhale, releasing it on back down. Leaving our left hand on down on the mat. Inhale, take the right hand on up towards the ceiling in that squat. Exhale, releasing the right hand on back down. Inhale, taking the left hand on up. Exhale, releasing that left hand on back down. So whenever we're ready, just taking our time, depending on what our anatomy says, we can shift back onto the glutes, or we might have to kind of shift our weight on over to the left. And we're just going to come on back into that easy seated. Don't worry, everybody, the worst is over. You made it. You did beautiful. I just know you did. And if your muscles are still burning, just smile if you can, knowing that it's done, it's over with. The rest is a piece of cake compared to the other part of the class. So whenever we're ready, we did work on our shoulders quite a bit today, whether you noticed it or not. So maybe just rolling through those shoulders nice and gently. And whenever we're ready, reversing that rotation. So whenever we're ready, we can finish up our rotations. And then we're going to do a stretch that works right in between the shoulder blades here. So just listening to the shoulders here. If you have a shoulder injury, be very gentle here. So for starters, we're going to bring our left arm up, place about a 90-degree bend in that elbow. And our elbow is going to be kind of like somewhere in front of our heart or maybe our throat, depending on the length and size of our arm. So we want a nice straight line on our tricep or the backs of our arms. Then nice and slow, we're going to carry that right hand over the left. And if you can bring the palms together. And if you can, you can just kind of hold on wherever you can here. Now, some of us are already feeling a shoulder stretch. And some of us may not be. So the trick here is to kind of move the elbows away from your heart or your chest. So keep those muscles engaged and move the elbows away from the heart of the chest. And then, if this feels really nice and you want to go a little bit further, you can just start to gently and slowly take the elbows and the eagle arms over to the right as we gaze over the left shoulder. Exhale, coming in back to that center. And then again, if we choose, we can take it on over to the other side, nice and slow. Again, remembering to keep those elbows pushed away from the chest just a little. We want to keep those muscles engaged. And then exhale, coming in back to center. Nice and slow. We can just start to extend the arms outward here. And if you need to, you can kind of shake them out. Another really interesting way to do that same thing is we can kind of hula dance. So whenever we're ready, we're just going to kind of send the arms to the left, nice and slow, gaze over that right shoulder. And then we're going to sweep the arms over to the right, gazing over the left shoulder. As long as you don't get too crazy, you should be all right. And whenever we're ready, just coming on back to that center. Wiggle anything out we need to. So whenever we're ready, taking our time nice and slow, and we're just going to send those legs out nice and long. Adjust the glutes in any way we need to find the nice flat space at the bottom of our spine or our sits bones. Nice and tall through the tops of our head, inhaling our hands on up. And as we exhale, hinging from the hips, reaching with our chest or our hearts towards our toes. Remembering that sinking breath here, if we choose to use it, deep breaths in, even longer breaths out. And if the knees are a little bit bent, that's okay. Also, just a little reminder here, our goal isn't really to get our forehead down to our knees, it's actually to kind of lay the belly button down on the thigh. And maybe some of you already have that going on, and maybe some of you do not. That is quite all right. walking your hands on back up. And just bringing the sole of our left foot to the inside of that right leg. Now some of you may decide that you want a little bit of a different stretch here than this particular one. And that's okay too. You can start to bring that left heel to be more in line with that left glute, just making sure that we're not leaning over to the right. If while we're doing this stretch, we're leaning over to the right, we can always place a book or a block. I tried to combine two words there, a book. We can place a book or a block underneath that right glute or right hip to straighten ourselves on back up. So whenever we're ready again, if our spine is nice and lined in this stretch and not leaning over to the right, then we can take this pose further, inhaling the hands on up, and as we exhale, nice and slow, hinging from the hips, reaching with our chest or hearts towards our toes. And whenever we're ready, nice and slow, inhale, walking ourselves on back up. Taking that right leg out a little bit further here. We can either place that right forearm on down on the inside of that right leg. If our elbow or forearm doesn't quite make it down to that mat, we can always place a block or a book underneath that arm to support this arm here. Worst case scenario, if we don't have a block or a book, we can rest our arm up on that shin. Then whenever we're ready, nice and slow, turning our gaze up towards the ceiling, picking a spot here. Inhaling our left hand on up towards the ceiling, placing a bend in that left elbow, resting the left fingertips behind the left ear. If this feels really nice, gazing past that elbow, we can stay right here. If our body's asking for a little bit more, we can start to extend that left hand over the head towards our right toes. And remember that it's okay if our fingers don't meet the toes. It doesn't matter if we're a mile away here. We're just looking for maybe a side body stretch here. And just remember to breathe, remembering your diaphragm here. And if we can't see that spot on the ceiling, it might have gone a little bit too far. Whenever we're ready, exhale, releasing that left hand on back down and just walking ourselves on back up with that right hand. Bringing our right foot on back out in front. And then just slowly start to help that left leg go nice and long. And we're just going to flip sides here. So we can either bring the sole of the right foot onto the inside of the left leg, or if you're looking for a little bit of a different stretch, you can carry that right heel to be more in line with the right glute, just making sure that we're not leaning over to the left, and if we are, maybe placing a block or a book. I got it out this time. And nice and tall through the spine here, inhaling those hands on up. And as we exhale, hinging from the hips, reaching with our chest or our hearts towards our toes. slow. Inhale, walking ourselves on back up. Maybe taking that left foot out a little bit further here. And again, placing that left forearm on down to the inside of that left leg. Up on the shin, worst case scenario, or placing a block or a book underneath that forearm there. Gazing up at the ceiling, picking a spot up there on the ceiling. Inhaling our right hand on up. Placing a bend in that right elbow. Resting our right fingertips behind our right ear. Remembering we can stay right here if we choose, or if our body's asking for a little bit more, we can start to extend that right hand over our head. Just remember to breathe here. Whenever we're ready, nice and slow, exhale, releasing that right hand on back down, and just walking the left hand on back up. Bringing our left leg back out in front, then helping the right leg come on back around. And whenever we're ready, we're going to go down onto our backs for our final stretching, and then moving right into our final relaxation. So if you'd like some water, now's a beautiful time. So reaching behind those knees and rolling on down to the spine, one vertebrae at a time, maybe gently rocking to the left and to the right if we choose. And whenever we're ready, nice and slow, exhale, releasing the soles of our feet back down to the mat, taking our arms out either to a T or maybe our cactus arms. And then just lifting our hips up slightly off the mat as we turn onto that right hip and turn and gaze over or towards our left shoulder. Leaving both shoulders down on the mat. If we have any knees that happen to be floating, we can always place our hand in between them. And maybe really focusing here on an exhale. And maybe your spine feels really good today. If it does and you'd like to take this just a little bit further, you can. We can start to walk that left big toe up the back of that right leg. And then bring that left knee down towards the mat or the floor. Just making sure both shoulders are still on the mat. And if we chose to walk that big toe up the back of that right calf, just gently walking it on back down. And whenever we're ready, nice and slow, inhale, bringing those knees on back to center, readjusting our spine. And then just lifting our hips up slightly off the mat as we turn onto our left hip and turn and gaze over towards that right shoulder here.
Again, supporting any knees that might be floating here with a block or a hand. Both shoulders are contact with the mat. And just breathe. And then again, if your spine's asking for a little bit more, you can walk that right big toe up the back of the left calf. And then rest the right knee towards the mat or towards the floor. If it doesn't quite make it, you can always put your hand underneath there as well. And then if we chose to walk that big toe up that left calf, maybe gently walking that right big toe back down. And then nice and slow, gently bringing those knees on back to center, readjusting our spine here. And take these next few breaths to make any final stretches you feel like you might need to be as comfortable as possible while lying on your back. Remembering if your lower back feels uncomfortable lying flat, you can always rest the knees together, or you can always place some blocks or a pillow or bolsters underneath those knees. So whenever you've made your final stretches and you're just ready to sink in for that final relaxation, go ahead and get as comfortable as possible. Get out of any wiggles you might need. And just start to feel your body start to melt into the mat. While everybody's lying on their mat, I'm going to sit up so I can continue talking to you. We don't all need to conk out right now. So, just starting your relaxation right there at the top of your head, relaxing in the face muscles, maybe allowing that jaw to let go, creating a little bit of space in between the teeth. Maybe feel the tongue relax with nothing else to say. Relaxing through the neck, down the arms, and through the fingertips. Relaxing down the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Relaxing through the hips. Relaxing through the hamstrings and the quads, the calves, and the shins. Relaxing through the arches of our feet and letting go in our toes. Knowing that for the next little bit, there's nothing that we need to do other than just allow ourselves to be. So acknowledging any thoughts that might pop into our head, and then just allowing it to simply drift away like a feather on a river. Nothing that you need to do, nothing that you need to say, and nothing that you need to think.
Just allow yourself to be for the next few minutes as we move into that final relaxation. Slowly coming back to awareness, simply by wiggling our fingers, maybe wiggling our toes, maybe deepening our breath a bit, maybe stretching a little if we choose. And just taking our time, and whenever we're ready, and only whenever we're ready, turning on to our left side. Our left side is our healing side, and we can use this side to remind ourselves to let go of what no longer serves us, to let go of those things that maybe we just can't do anything about, and reminding ourselves that we are enough, that we do enough, and we say enough. So just leaving whatever we need to right here, right now on our mats, and
pushing ourselves up and meeting in our easy seated. So whenever we're ready, inhaling our hands on up. And as we exhale, releasing our hands to the mat behind us, opening our hearts to everything good coming our way, however big, however small, or however difficult to see. And on our next exhale, just walking our hands in front of us, rounding out our spine, reminding ourselves to stay humble, to stay protected, to stay safe. Inhale, walking ourselves on back up. Inhaling our hands one last time together this evening. Hands together, hands heart center. Thank you all so much for allowing me to be part of your yoga journey, and I'm so happy they are all a part of mine.